What's up,
John
guy?
Zannis, Jimmy Toscano, the Garden Report. Do we have a
You
new
know what it
sponsor?
is. You
We
already
might
know,
have
baby.
we might have new sponsors already.
Ooh, we should probably know that before we
Yeah.
start. But we'll wing it.
New year. Well, no, it's in the new year. It's in the new year. Not yet.
Okay, okay, then we
Not
won't mention them.
yet.
We do have
We do
one
have
sponsor though, Rocket Money, and you know what the Celtics did tonight? Beat the Rockets. So this is something there. There's some kind of segue there. We'll figure
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
no. HelloFresh starts in a couple. I
Dude,
said it. I know.
dude, no free ads, man.
Shh.
We had to start the show over last time. We're gonna do it again. Tim,
Rocket
start the show from
Rocket
here.
Money.
Boom, start the
What
show
do,
from here.
what do you get when you friggin' beat the Rockets? You get
Celtics
Rocket
were Rocket
Money.
Money tonight.
You get Rocket Money when you beat them at the Garden.
The Garden
Okay?
kid.
Rocketmoney.com/garden. Rocket Money will tell you more about it a little later in the show, but it's a good way to cancel a bunch of your stuff. A bunch of your subscriptions, which, again, you have way more than you think. Also, Athletic Greens. AG1, baby.
AG1, baby.
Athleticgreens.com/garden. You go there, you get some stuff, and you get some good health, which is really the most important
Somebody
thing. So,
here, I know somebody here definitely bought AG1 for somebody as a gift, and I bet you it was a hit. I bet you it
yeah,
was a hit.
I got a couple of
Somebody in the
messages in the
comments.
last few days, a couple of gifts, which is great. And so we've got that. But we'll talk about the Celtics and the Rockets. Again, I don't know what we've learned here, Jimmy, other than Tatum and Brown are better than your, our two guys are better than your two guys. But you
Yeah.
pretty much
Is that
know that
official
going
now?
in.
Would you say that now for every team?
No, but it's
We
close.
we've talked about this for the last couple of years. We've talked about like the best young duos. I don't even know like how young
Young, it's
do they
yeah. I
count
mean,
anymore? I don't know.
you can't. It's hard to argue
At the
now.
time
You
of the
have an
argument, it was.
you can't argue right now. At this moment, it's the two most dynamic players in the sense that like they can put up 30 in their sleep right now. So they're just taking things to a
Seriously.
different level. And that's what it was again. All of a sudden you look up and you're like, Tatum's got 31, like it
Well, all
just
of a sudden,
happens.
Jaylen Brown, like he had like what, like seven straight or something like that. Just like boom, like 3-pointer, dunk, mid range, just doing it from all over the damn court. And that was
Yeah.
talking Jaylen Brown.
Jalen did the third and that's all of our Jalen Brown
And that
talk for
was
the
talking
day.
Jaylen Brown.
Brown
Let's
did the
talk about
third quarter.
Rob. I'm just kidding.
Rob for sure. We'll start with the Jays. Jalen Brown did the third quarter thing instead of the fourth quarter
Yeah.
thing this game, which is nice to mix it up because we've talked before. It's the Tatum in the subs unit and the Jalen in the subs unit. When you need one of those guys to carry the offense, are they able to do it? And we've seen Tatum do it repeatedly. We're now starting to see Jalen do it more often. And it's made a difference. Last game, Tatum had a big third quarter, obviously, but Brown basically tail end of the third into the fourth. They
First
extended
and
that
fourth
lead
for
to the
him.
point that
Yeah.
Tatum didn't even need to come back in, and he kind of did that on his own with the second unit. And then tonight in the third quarter again, where the Celtics are kind of still mucking around and keeping it close. JB gets hot. And creates that distance, and that was basically it. That 10, 11, 12
That was
point
it.
cushion that they kind of kept them at arm's length the rest of the way, and
It
then
was like
and then
10 to
start
20.
yeah, and then poured it on late for the difference. Again, it was just overwhelmed them in the end. Tatum and Brown, were just basically doing dueling heat checks the rest of the way. But
Yeah.
again, I don't know what we learned here, Jimmy. Like we learned that what happens. Celtics shoot a crap ton of threes at a really low percentage in the first half. What happens in the third quarter? They just come out and start jacking contested threes left and right, and they missed like the first six of them. And I'm like, what are you guys doing here? And the solution when we talk about like what the coaches do, and again, Damon Stoudemire coaching for Joe Mazzulla tonight, who had
Yeah.
like a eye
Little
problem. What
little
happened?
eye thing. Little eye thing for Joe. I was gonna put some glasses in solidarity, but I didn't want to get it from the commenters on me. So
Jimmy really wants to try the glasses, but
I'll get
so
them
we're
on.
like, what?
I'll
What are
just
the
not see. It's
coaches?
fine.
Yeah, are the coaches going to get in there and tell them to stop shooting threes? And it really does appear that the solution for missing threes is to shoot more threes, and that's what they do. They shot 56
Right.
freaking threes,
And they didn't
and they
particularly
started,
hit a lot of them tonight.
but they started making them. They started making some. They didn't shoot at a blistering clip. But
Well, it was Tatum and Brown, right? I mean, the third quarter was all Tatum and Brown. That
those
was,
guys took how many threes between them, Jimmy? I don't know if you've looked at the box score.
I
How
have looked
many
at the
threes
box score, but I
between
mean,
them,
I didn't
Tatum and Brown
memorize it.
alone?
15 plus 16, 31. See that math?
I
Okay.
wanted you to get it without looking.
Oh,
31.
I
Yeah.
thought you wanted to know the answer.
31. 31 threes. They were
31
just
threes. I mean, that I wonder if that's a record for combined attempts between the two.
For
It's
two
probably
dudes?
yeah. Well, no, just
I wonder.
between them. But yeah, between two dudes in general, that's probably pretty close too. I don't know.
Unbelievable. They just keep jacking them.
Shoot your way
But
out. That's clearly. I mean, what's what are the assistant coaches really going to do? They pretty much when the cat's away, the mice will play. So shoot the ball. It's what they do. They did it tonight. I will say this: they did get to the line a lot as well. So I kind of hedged a little bit between a lot of the misses. I think they were twice as many free throws by the third quarter as Houston had. I think they were 19. I saw 19 of 19 at one point. I think they finished 20 of 23. But it wasn't like they were just jacking shots and, not attacking at any point or getting to the rim. I mean, every time I looked at Jaylen Brown, he was, slicing and dicing at some point. So I understand where you're coming from. This is who they are, man. This is just this is what they do. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to win. This is how they're going to lose.
I'm not necessarily complaining. I just
Well, no,
think it's interesting that, I
It's
do
how they're
think
built,
that,
really.
yeah, I just do think that you're always doing better when you're working the ball inside out and trying to work for those shots a little bit more, as opposed to just kind of jacking them and hope to get hot. But it didn't matter tonight. It really didn't matter because they got hot. Grant came in, knocked down a couple big ones late. This was one of those games where you knew based on the opponent, you basically, this was like a 12-minute effort sort of game. You show up, you play 12 good minutes. Doesn't matter which 12. It could have been the first 12. You build a 20-something point lead. It could have been the third quarter. That's all they needed. One
quick,
good quarter. That was it.
You don't want my thoughts on Mac Jones. You do not want my thoughts on Mac Jones.
Why is it even thrown out there?
Chris just probably knows that I've been highly critical of the Patriots, and it certainly starts at Mac Jones. Probably wants that criticism to be heard.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that right now. Maybe at the end.
So it doesn't matter. Jays were phenomenal. This was a game you never expected the Celtics to lose in. It didn't really matter. They jacked a ton of threes. They kept jacking threes. All good. The one thing I think that you can definitely take away is but we know Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are great, and we know that they're, like I said, their duo is better than your duo. I did want to see the double 40. What we saw tonight, which I thought was definitely the headline. I mean, the headliner. Your two best stars score almost 40 each. That's obviously going to be the headline. But in terms of what matters the most, I think Rob matters the most right now in terms of the type of game that he had tonight, because you're starting to sneaky see Rob things more frequently tonight. Tonight was a ridiculous game
boards.
In terms of the boards. If you add, in addition to the boards, the amount of times he kept the ball alive on the glass on the offensive end, if those counted for rebounds, someone else catches the ball, but you're the reason why. There was about 7 of those that he kept it alive. Sometimes.
So hockey rebounds? Are we going hockey rebounds?
They're
now?
hockey rebounds, yeah. Sometimes he just taps it and hopes for the best. Sometimes he directs those taps. He's better at that than anybody I've ever seen. Directing taps off of loose balls or off the glass in the direction of teammates. They're rebound passes. There was one late in the game where Scal said he should get a rebound and an assist for that, for a tip. But he should, because that's what it was. It was intentional. Instead of catching it, coming down, and then delivering a pass, he just tipped it to a guy who shot a shot. It's a high athleticism move, just how quick he can get off the ground, but it's such like a smart thing that he does, where his brain is just moving super fast in those times to be able to recognize, to go up and to make that tap. So seeing Rob closer to his Rob self was pretty. I thought it's like that one takeaway where you're like, okay, you're talking about what's the ceiling of this team. Yes, the Browns, Tatum and Brown are awesome, and they'll continue to be awesome. But seeing Rob starting to do this kind of stuff, I think, is my number one takeaway.
Yeah, well, you specifically, you've really been waiting to see old Rob, as they say. We've heard
And
of
it's not all the way
we've heard of
there.
old Greg. We wanted old Rob, and we got old Rob. For anyone who gets that reference, great. But Rob, we knew it was there. We saw bits and pieces of it. The conditioning wasn't there yet, but you could see him at points jumping very high and getting back for the block. The classic Rob block where lets the guy sort of get by him, but then he recovers and blocks it over his back, at the rim. We saw that a couple games ago or last game, I forget which one it was. And tonight was kind of getting it all back together. So this was a huge game for Rob, I think, to see all that sort of happen in one game. I mean, I think we all thought it was there, but there's a part of you who needs to see it, because of the health issues and, missing a game here and there for, illness and whatnot. You always wonder, is it really illness or is it knee pain and they just don't want to say anything or whatever. But yeah, it was great to see him there. Obviously, this team's going to go as far as Tatum and Brown take them. But when you have that presence that you lacked severely, and I know Bobby's going to disagree because Cornette was, Rob played the Cornette role tonight, but I would say Rob was a bit of a step up. I think we can all agree there. So, adding that to the mix, now that these guys have played a few games together, you can see that they're getting all together on the same page. It wasn't like Rob goes in and they all looked out of sorts, which I think there was a little bit of truth to that for the first couple games when Rob was inserted into the lineup. It just, I don't know if it was a coincidence, but they also did lose a couple of those games right when he returned. I think the familiarity with last season's kind of returned, and they can just kind of build on this. 11 points, there it is, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, plus 19, in only 21 minutes. I mean, that's about as many minutes, I think, as you can expect for him to play right now, given that he's been off.
You're right. You're right. I don't think he can go past those minutes. What I thought was different about tonight, in addition to just the activity, was that I feel like he's faded near the end of each of his stints on the court. In most games, and tonight he didn't. Tonight I actually thought from the moment he got to the floor to the moment he was subbed out, he had roughly the same level of bounce and energy. There's a lot of times in the first few games for sure where I felt like he was out of gas. Like they might have played him for 7, but he had about 4.5 good ones in him and was walking up and down the court for 2. Old Greg.
Somebody got it, thank God. Absolutely. So only good things, really. I mean, it's one of those games, John. I know it's hard, but only good things, really, to report from this one. You had good
things.
You had your two-headed monster do their thing. Clearly, the two best. When they're going, they're unbelievable. 18th game when each of them had 30+ points. What's the record in that? Is it 18?
Huh?
What's their record when they each scored 30 each?
I don't think Rob's jumping high enough. If you ask me the question, I think he can load up. I think he chooses. He's still picking his spots. There's a few times where old Rob goes for the big soaring contest, and that's not just discipline. There's a couple plays where he's just not, there. But I think part of it is conserving more so than it is that he physically can't, because you've seen him go up and get lobs. So the jump is there.
I want head in the rafters.
He's choosing to jump a little less. I don't know. It's because it's exhausting to jump that much. Have you ever just jumped for workouts? It's exhausting.
No, actually, I haven't. When I think about it.
Really?
What's that guy doing over there?
You've never done the plyometrics thing?
No. Yeah, little box jump action. I do
it's
a lot
exhausting.
Of jumping. Yeah. It is exhausting.
It's exhausting. Again, so I actually think sometimes he's actually conserving a little energy till he gets his legs under him. I don't think he's limited in terms of how high he can get, because when he needs it, he goes up and gets it.
Yeah. Completely.
Thank you, Catherine, very much.
And again, how much of that is conditioning? How much of that is him?
Unstoppable duo. Yes, we do. And guys, thank you so much.
Is she talking about me and you? She might be talking about us.
I think she's talking about Bobby in terms of Canada. But Bobby, we all love Canada.
True. We do love Canada. Bobby Canada.
I do love Canada. Yeah.
Our nickname from the good people.
Around, near every election, I'm always looking at real estate in Canada.
They called me Jimmy Canada back at NBC, John. You remember those skits?
You guys have to Google Jimmy Canada and see some of those skits. Those were outstanding. Jimmy Toscano.
We have a long history. YouTube. I
Jimmy
think they're on
Toscano.
YouTube somewhere.
You can find them. Jimmy Toscano Performance Art. Go find some old Jimmy Canada's sketches. Yeah.
I got to get back on quick slants at some point. Anyways, yeah. Quick picks.
Quick picks. They took all the silly out of it.
Did they? How could they?
These
K's
aren't-
back on.
No, they took the silly out. It's a straight football show now.
Is it? Well, that's because I'm not on the show anymore. So if they're
Goofy is
little,
gone. The Goofy is gone.
the goof is gone. Oh, that's too bad. Well, maybe it'll be back someday. Anyways, I want to go back to Jaylen Brown for a second, if you don't mind.
Yes.
It feels like this guy is just becoming a freaking killer.
Professional bucket machine.
Professional bucket machine killer. Like, I think defenders are honestly thinking, how is this guy gonna, he can score me in so many ways right now. Like, which one is he going to choose? If I commit too much, he's going to blow by me. If I give him too much space, he's going to just take a three in my face. I mean, the guy took 15 threes tonight. He's clearly got the green light. The confidence is there. It's more often than not right now he's on. I know that I think a couple games ago he had an off night. And yeah, there are some, issues, if you want to call them that, with his game still, John. I know you point them out at times, decision making, ball handling, playmaking, things like that. But if you want to talk about straight up killer scorer, the most important part of the game, we always say it, just score more points than the other team. You want this guy on the court. I mean, he's becoming as dangerous as Tatum
He's an
out there.
Elite
offensively.
bucket getter. Yeah.
That's having that that is a bit of a development, would you say?
I mean, that's always been his game.
It's
that's
always
what
been
he's
his
best
game, but
at.
I feel like it's elevated though.
Definitely.
Like he's an easy all-star. Easy all-star.
He's an easy all-star this time. So the things that he's best at, he has improved at. I don't know that he's improved at the other aspects of his game, which is the only time when I'm critical. But in terms of like playmaking X, Y, and Z, but that's the whole thing is like everyone's stuck on like trying to prove that he can do other things. It doesn't matter. He does the hardest thing in basketball as well as anybody. Like
Right.
It's
And everybody
that's
knows
the point.
he's going to look to score first, and he still does.
That's the point. It's the number one most important thing in basketball, and he does it better, as good as anybody right now. And Jimmy, you even mentioned it last game. The difference between him and Tatum sometimes. Tatum kind of sets some guys up, hits some contested shots. He's not as much of a blow-by guy. He's got to finish creatively. He can use his size. He can use his length to get to the basket. But Jaylen Brown sometimes literally runs in a straight line past people. He just catches it, and before the double can come or before pressure comes, he's like, bye, and he goes. And when he does that, it's ridiculous. So like that, he had a bunch of those in this game where he's just literally boop. One of the great ones. I can't remember who he set up. But he's it's just not fair sometimes. He had the one where he had it and somebody came out and he did a little hezzy and to the left and then dunked it with the left. That was friggin' stupid.
Oh, yeah. Well, how about the one earlier in the game where he just like changed direction? He just took the ball midair. It was like a little MJ-esque kind of, and just threw that dunk down. That was the first dunk. Then you're talking about the blow-by one where he just kind of just crossed over and just they called the timeout. I think right after that the Rockets did. I think that was his like seventh straight point, and that kind of opened things up. And I mean, I'm telling you, like he's just on a different level right now. I mean, ride it out. But if you're talking about two guys now that ho hum 30 points, ho hum really. I mean, no one's batting an eye when these guys hit 30 points anymore. And I felt like with Brown, it was nice they got 30 out of Brown. It wasn't as surprising when Tatum did so, but I'm equally not surprised now, pretty much. Like when it comes to scoring, I still think that Tatum's a more complete player, but I think Jaylen Brown, his mid-range game right now is on point. His little like 12-footer pull-up jumper, that's my favorite shot that he does, and it seems like it's automatic. I mean, I'm sure Bobby could rifle off the stats on that one and pretty quickly, and I know it's not automatic, obviously, but point being, I like him taking that shot. He can score it on all levels of the court. But when he just turns on the jets and that's the one thing I'll say. It feels like, and John, I know we've talked about this, sometimes I don't know if he's not engaged enough, because when you look at him out there, when he is wanting to be Jaylen Brown, he's damn near unstoppable. I know that you can't expect somebody to do that for 48 minutes or 35 minutes or whatever, but sometimes the highs are so high and the lows are like, is he awake out there? I don't know, and it's not really.
That's what's weird. The concentration
It's
lapses
almost
when
like
they
he's
come are
yeah
weird. Yeah.
yeah he's almost like we've seen him be so good. We're just like maybe we're a little bit too critical of him when he's not because we know what he's capable of. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to like criticize or bash him in that sense, but it's just like wow, like if this is what this guy's capable of, like how do you go invisible for half the times, you know? But it wasn't that type of game tonight. You know, this is a game where he was definitely engaged.
No, you can tell. You know where you can tell in his game? It's not in the like I think a lot of times people like, you know, they look for the sloppy games where he's like his handle is whatever. I honestly think that only happens when he's getting doubled and he's trying to do too much by himself and he dribbles into traffic. That's usually where he has his issues. You can tell right out of the gate. I already put this one up, and thank you, Justin.
Well, thanks, Justin. Yes. I didn't see you say thank you.
No, Justin. Thank you very much for that, and you should talk to us when it gets closer to that game. Maybe Bobby or Josue will come.
Go find Bobby. Go find Bobby.
Sure. Yeah, if you go to a game, find Bobby, take a picture with Bobby, and post it. That's your goal.
We'll send you a T-shirt. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm the mate of T-shirts. You can tell whether Brown's into it or not. There's a couple like tells, obviously defensively, but you can tell when he's into it.
Is a good point. Not that he wasn't ever, but
no, for sure. When Jalen starts crashing the boards, that's always a giveaway for me that like he's into it right now. You know, when he starts doing like extra stuff, then you can really tell that he's into it. When he gets low on defense instead of plays guys straight up, you know, like you can tell when he's kind of just wants it a little bit more. I think he goes through like peaks and valleys like anybody else.
Yeah.
But the scoring's there whenever he wants the scoring there. Big Kess over here. This is a big one.
MJ and Kobe. Yeah. Lofty comparison there, Kess, but I see your point for sure.
Yeah.
Basically saying they've got two alphas on the team, you know?
Well, that's the thing is like, and when everyone talks about Pippen, like, let's not be silly. Like, Pippen wasn't within a mile of Jordan, you know? Like
don't tell Pippen that.
He's an excellent player, but he's not within a mile of Jordan. He calling them, you know, putting them in the same breath is ridiculous. Like. And Pippen's an outstanding player. It's just not. They're just not. He's not within a mile of Jordan. You know, Brown and Tatum are much closer to one another than those two guys ever were in terms of skills.
But yeah. Pippen was pretty damn good too. I mean, he definitely was overshadowed. But MJ is MJ. I mean, you're comparing him to arguably the greatest of all time. I say arguably because I think LeBron's up there too. But
yeah.
That's a tough.
Yeah, and Dirk, this is fair. I think, look, this is the book on the Celtics. And this is why I always say, like, what have we learned here? Yeah, Tatum and Brown are going to put up 40 like they're playing friggin', the junior varsity, tonight. Those are easy games for those guys. There's just nothing that you're going to do. But you're right. The teams that know how to play the Celtics know what to do, which is put a ton of pressure on Tatum and Brown, blitz them at the point of attack, you know, crowd the paint, don't let them get there, force the ball out of their hands and or force the ball to open shooters that are guys you actually want taking the shots. This is where the Celtics fell into some lulls when the threes weren't falling, and they're like, why aren't they falling? Well, because they're being taken by Derek White and Marcus Smart and Sam Hauser and guys who, truth be told, are not proven entities as far as, lethal three-point scorers are. So Horford, like those are the guys the other teams want shooting the ball, and they force it out of their hands, and then those guys are kind of forced to force the issue a little bit more, and they have sloppy games. So yes, that's what teams are going to do. And that's what they're going to continue to do with the Celtics. That's why I think it's really important to kind of get, like, I love these 40-40 games, but I'm worried, not worried. You've got to get the bench going again. You know, you got to get reliable contributions from more than just two guys. Couple things I like in the recent victories. More of the shots are being taken by Tatum and Brown, which is what you want. But you're seeing less, obviously, from other people. Like, yeah, you want to see Marcus Smart in that 5, 6, 7 shot range. That's great. He's been passing up what were once open threes. That's what I want to see him do more. Is just because it's open doesn't mean it's a good shot. Work for a better shot, or get it into the hands of other guys who you want taking those shots more than you, for sure.
Well,
but yeah,
I mean, they have the guards to take more shots. Like, I want to see more from Brogdon. I think he's got way more to offer offensively, and Bobby's mentioned it a bunch, but for some reason he's been off this year at the rim. I know
struggling at the rim.
Field goal percentage is extremely low compared to where it should be at the rim, but we know what he can do from 3-point range. He's been pretty damn good from there, and just following his career with the, we can give them more on offense on a more consistent basis. So I'm expecting that to happen. Derek White, you really don't know what you're going to get from this guy on the offensive end night in, night out. Again, he came out gangbusters to start the year. He was the guy that they could look for and scored in a multitude of ways, from three-pointer, from everywhere. And then you've got Al Horford. Same thing with Al. I don't think anyone's depending on Al to be like your 15 points, 20-point a game guy. I know that we're not, but at the same time, he can hit the outside shot pretty consistently if given, we should be able to, is my point. He's not really the guy that's going to be banging down low anymore, and he's not a guy that they're expecting to be their third offensive player. I think you got to look to the guards, Brogdon, White, Smart. I mean, Smart's got to give you, I know you don't want Smart taking 12 shots a game, but he's got to give you a little bit offensively. He's got to be able to open things up for the other guys. They don't have a legitimate third. It's not a big three. You know what I mean?
They don't. That's what's interesting. When everyone's looking for that, third Celtics All-Star, look, you can give it to Smart based on reputation and based on Celtics record, but the reality is it's extremely hard to say that Marcus is one of the 5 or 6 best guards in the East. I'm sorry. I don't care what metrics you use and how much you weight defense. There's so much talent right now. It's difficult. You do not have that third guy.
Smart is great for the team. Smart is great for the team, but he doesn't scream all-star on a national level. He just doesn't. People need to understand that.
And that's the thing, is he's not going to be that. He's not going to get you buckets. Brogdon really is that guy. He's that guy. Based on pedigree,
Brogdon's more of a scorer. Straight
Brogdon is the scorer. Definitely struggling a little bit right now. I just don't think you change anything up right now.
What would you even change?
Nothing. I like what you're doing here. I do wonder if Rob stays on the bench.
I don't think he will stay on the bench for long. I think
you think they go back to double big?
I don't know. I actually hate this conversation because I think the starting thing is so overrated to me anyways. Start based on matchups. That's what I say. If you're playing a big team, toss Rob in the starting lineup. Yeah, why the hell not? If you're playing a team that's not, if you're playing a team with the Celtics, then you don't. It's really that simple. I don't get hung up on who starts. I get hung up more on, guys who are playing well together out there late in the game. That's kind of what I'm more interested in seeing. And Rob tonight clearly was the guy that was all over the place, and you wanted him on the court. It didn't really matter if he started or not.
Yeah.
You got to he's got to get his 20, 25 minutes in some way. Yeah. It's more important to me to see him play with guys that are going to, make him a better player.
It doesn't matter if you start. It doesn't matter who starts. It's who finishes. And that's why Josue Pavon, when we bring him in right now, that's perfectly fine.
That's right.
He doesn't have to start to come in here and deliver the goods. So Josue jumping out of the locker room. We're going to hear from Josue. We're going to hear from Bobby. We're going to hear from everybody. But we're also going to hear a word from our sponsors. Yes. Yes, we
which
are.
One?
We'll start with
which one we doing?
What's that? We're going to switch
up.
Josue made it just in time for the commercials. Commercial break, everybody.
Josue
should have put a teaser in there.
Josue is the tease. We're waiting on
Josue, work on your hot take. We're
you
gonna
guys
read
are
some commercials.
Josue's here to tell you something. You have no idea how important it is.
And it's about Rob.
Oh my God. Okay, so a big story, breaking news. regarding Rob after this commercial.
Yeah.
Athletic Greens, please check this out. This is actually good. It's really picked up steam around the holidays. Some of you, I have gotten several people who told me they have gotten this as presents for people, which is great, or their wives who watched the show or knew that their husbands watched this show, got them an Athletic Greens subscription. I got a couple of DMs to send
And
over a free t-shirt, which
did we get
will
t-shirts
be doing.
in time for Christmas, or did we tell them this is probably not going to happen?
Some people did. No.
Some people did. Okay.
Batch 2, I don't know if it's been released into the world yet, but we didn't have enough for the first wave, and now we had a bunch of orders come through. But to tell you about Athletic Greens, if you don't know about it already, terrific supplement, one-stop shopping, 75 minerals, vitamins in one little scoop. You put it in a cup of water to start your day, bang, and you're done. Mental clarity, gut health. You name it, everything that you're out there looking for your supplements to do, energy, focus, recovery, immune booster. It has literally everything in there. Doesn't matter what type of diet you're on, it fits within that. It's paleo friendly, keto friendly, vegan friendly. It has less than 1 gram of sugar in it. It is recommended by healthcare professionals, athletes, celebrities, 7,000 five-star reviews. So again, it's time to reclaim your health right now with Athletic Greens to make it easier on you. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden, and we are going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D plus 5 free travel packs with your first purchase, plus a phenomenal t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
All you have to do, DM me a receipt. We'll send you a form to fill out. It's as easy as just putting in your name, address, and all of that stuff, and we will send it to you right away. So please check that out, athleticgreens.com. What do you got from
You know who else is an Athletic Greens guy? Huberman.
Oh, really?
Huberman.
I was gonna say no one's gonna guess.
The Huberman pod. You guys, my guy Huberman.
You'll never.
If you listen to one other podcast
Did you think-
besides ours, Huberman Lab, check out the Huberman.
Oh, okay.
Science-based podcast. It'll help. It'll just turn you into a better human being. Next.
You'll never guess where Bobby was. He'll tell you. Okay.
yeah. Let's put that tease out there before he gets on. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
we got a good. There's a good story behind where Bobby was, but first we're gonna get.
I just watched you read that text. That's funny. I got it too.
First we're gonna hear from Josue on Rob, and then we'll bring in Bobby.
So before we heard about what happened with Joe Mazzulla, which according to Damon Stoudemire was like around the 8-minute mark before this game started, where he found out that he was going to be coaching this game. One of the more interesting quotes that came out of pregame, because Mazzulla did talk to us before, and I thought something was up. He kept rubbing his eye.
He was squinting a lot in pregame.
He usually squints. He's a bit of a squint with the lights, but it was the constant touching,
pink eye,
scratching. That's the first thing that crossed my mind. Jim, someone's had this disease before, or this sickness before. But yeah, I told Bobby, what is this dude got pink eye or something? And 2 hours later, he's out. But anyways, that's beside the point. He got a Rob question about him ramping up, and I thought it was interesting because he's like, look, him ramping up and him starting, they're not hand in hand, which I thought was interesting. He said that he's gonna go with whoever starts, whichever's best for the team. So this whole notion of Rob must be ramping up so he can eventually get to the starting lineup. I mean, he hasn't confirmed that. So I don't think, honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad indication. I just think that Mazzulla is just that type of coach. It's not like, he has to start no matter what. I think he's going to feel this thing out, and chances are he's probably going to start. If not, he'll certainly probably finish games. But either way, this was his best outing this season for sure. I mean, just the way he looked out there, what he was doing on defense, cleaning the glass. I think all that is great stuff.
He was outstanding
for Rob, but
he was outstanding today. We're going to bring in Bobby too, and Bobby's
I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world if he doesn't start.
No, we were talking about that earlier too, Josue. We'll circle back to that in a second. But Bobby's first going to tell us where were you, Bobby?
Oh, I was talking to Rob in the locker room.
Where were you after that?
Well, I came down here to do the show, and right as I got to the media room here where I record, I ran into the Cornets.
Wow.
What are the odds?
You just happened to run into the Cornets. You had no idea they were going to be there.
So, yeah, his three siblings.
How many Cornets? Oh! All his siblings were here? were there?
Yeah, his three siblings, including Nicole, who we had on Dome Theory when he first got here in 2021, and his
wow.
dad Frank, who I'd always been interested in meeting because he played for the Bucks for 2 years. I don't know if people knew that in the 89, 90, 91 seasons. And so I asked him if he ever played here in Boston. He said actually one of his better games was here in the old Garden. So I actually just looked it up, and he did score 7 points in 6 minutes against Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Reggie Lewis in 1990. Celtics won that game 129-111. He played for the Bucks.
Wow, not bad.
Yeah.
Should have got him on. Any sparks?
Once Luke came by, and I wished them a happy New Year and sent them on their way. I guess they're hanging out here for the holidays, so nice to meet them. Good, fun group. They appreciate my my Luke fandom.
Okay.
Advocacy, I guess, is the better term.
Sounds like
Yeah.
it was a good first encounter.
Yeah. Yeah. But how did you guys talk about how well he played tonight?
No, no.
No,
It was a brief chat.
no, that was
Hey.
yeah.
Hey, I don't know. You're not gonna knock Luke for doing his job.
I'm not
and
gonna do
filling in for
anything.
Rob and bridging that gap because that was important. Like they needed someone to step up in that role, and he
No
did a
restraining
great
orders
job.
filed yet?
He did a great job. I actually talked to him about his journey, someday over the weekend at shoot around, and got some great insight from him. He talked a lot about, and you heard this at media day too, John. You were there, just like his confidence not really being there, even all the way through college and his early years in the NBA. Like he never had big aspirations to play in the league until like late in college, and his size got him there, but his skill just wasn't quite on par with like where his body was.
Yeah.
And it took him a while coming into the league. He had like a bad nose injury that he said really screwed up his respiratory system when he was in Chicago. And it took until he got to Boston, he said, to finally feel like he like belonged and like could fit in on a roster, which that's a long time. He was in college for 4 years. He was on the Knicks, he was on the Bulls, he was in the G League. So this is like a late kind of blossoming for a guy like that. And again, like he played a key role on the
Bobby,
team to start the year.
Bobby, for real though, how long are we going to talk about a guy who didn't play tonight? Like,
Hey,
You
no,
asked. You
I'm
asked.
fine with it. Yeah, John, you did ask.
Yeah, you did. You asked for the story. Like
I did.
big way.
All right, let's talk, bro.
Bobby, I appreciated the story. That's what you call that's like unique content. You're not gonna get that from anyone else ever in the
else is
world.
good.
Probably ever.
He's right.
Good.
Yeah.
No one else is getting Luke's inside story.
Yeah,
I'll
and
tell you that.
as our
Fair
Tim
enough.
Shields
That
rightly
was
put,
good. The running
rightly
time
lets
was
us know
perfect.
he
on
did
it.
play tonight. Played
I
2
forgot.
minutes.
They cleared the bench at the end. Yeah.
The running
Let's,
time was
2
perfect.
minutes.
Let's go back to Rob because I do think that's the news of the day, as Josue was mentioning.
Yes, and
Does
sorry
seem-
for guys who felt trolled by the breaking Rob news. We didn't mean that. He just got out of the locker room and Rob had talked a little bit, but Rob did talk. Does he have anything to say about how he is physically right now? Because I think it goes hand in hand. The more comfortable he gets, when the conditioning gets up there, when he starts feeling fully confident, he gets to do more Rob things. This was a game where he's starting to do more Rob things. You're seeing him kind of get up off his feet a lot quicker. A couple times, I thought really small things, Bobby, like contesting a shot, landing, and then jumping right back up for a rebound. That's not easy to do. He gets off the ground so quickly, but there also look like there's other times out there where he's conserving his energy a little bit. So it's not like the full Rob experience, but even like 70% of it tonight was just insanely impactful.
Yeah, and they needed his rebounding. The Rockets were crashing. They were in there. There were some battles on the boards defensively. And then, of course, offensively, he got asked about the fact that this team was pretty low in the league before he returned in terms of offensive rebounding. And he does it naturally. It's so easy for him. You had those couple tip outs against Indiana where he got them extra looks from three. He's able to bat the ball out a few times in this one. And he generated 15 rebounds in how many minutes did he play? 21? And they actually all came within 16, 17, 18 minutes. So
Well, he had 10 in that first stint of 7 or 8 minutes. He had 10 in the first 8 minutes.
He's unbelievable. It's not even like fundamentals really. Like he's not boxing guys out and all that. He's just going right up and getting it and out jumping. Such a big impact when you face an opponent like this who's really trying to grind out those extra possessions. And Houston got them early. He sealed them off late. You had him land that big alley-oop. But in terms of your question, John, in terms of how he's feeling, he says it's all wind right now. Like no pain, no issues after any of the games that he's played so far. Like he's just slowly gotten more and more in shape through each game that he's played. Even the brace that he's wearing, he said he expected to bother him, but it hasn't. And I've liked what I've seen from him. I know you guys were talking last game. You didn't love what you saw, but
in spurts,
it's
just not enough. And I do feel like at each of his stints, you get if he plays 7 minutes, I feel like you get 3 or 4 good minutes in the last couple. He's walking back and forth a little bit. It looks like there's, like I said, I still see some plays that looks like he's deciding like I'm not selling out on this one because he knows he wants to save it for something else. So I think he's picking his spots versus if he were in tip-top shape, a guy going out there and playing 2 or 3, 6 or 7 minute stretches should be flying all over the place. It should be like a hockey shift. You're just, I mean, if you're only out there 5, 6, 7 minutes at a time, a couple times a game, you should be able to really go, balls to the wall, and he's not fully able to. But again, you saw, I mean, nobody does what he does. And the thing we talked about on top of that was the deflections and his active hands and how many balls he keeps alive on the offensive glass. Not only the ones he grabs, but the ones he's deflecting directly to other people or tapping.
He's become a master at that. Yeah, like that's like his go-to now. And I feel like he has someone in mind. He's not doing it without looking. And
always. It's like, beep,
it's strategic. Right. He's got somebody in mind every single time. Yeah. And he makes an impact.
Jimmy, I'm giving you the hosting microphone. I'm popping off for 2 minutes. You're in charge of everything.
Okay. Jimmy, don't mess this up, all right?
Which means you got to start paying attention again.
I'm going to toss it to Bobby.
You were drifting.
I already got my rock.
Thinking out loud. He's just thinking out loud.
Well, guys, you know how it is. I start the show with John. He talks for 15 minutes. Then I get my 2 minutes.
Your mouth just dropped and he said he's leaving. You just freaked for a second.
But I already did my Rob spiel, so I want to hear from you guys on. I mean,
I like the point Josue made. I like the point Josue made there. He is sort of directing balls on the offensive glass when he tips them out, and when he blocks.
I call them hockey rebounds.
Those a block.
Rebounds.
Can we get a stat for that soon? We got the hockey assists.
Hockey rebounds
in basketball.
There was a block that sent Grant down in transition last game, and they didn't score, but it was like a one-on-one opportunity for Grant. He looks poised out there. It looks like he's getting more comfortable, and the key isn't, I think, him. It's guys involving him. And I love that Smart found him on that late alley-oop. He needs Smart setting him up like he is, because I don't think the other guys look for him consistently enough. That look that he got above the break to find Tatum cutting back door early in the game was awesome. Those are the plays you want to see him making more frequently. And I think if you just put more on his plate, he'll be able to do more with it. I almost hope, and John, I here for this, of course, but I hope that they don't go the Brad route with this, right? That 2021 debate we had. And of course, I was on the other side of it. I think you, Jimmy, and John were saying, play him more, play him. And I was like, if he's not playing more, he probably can't. And we saw the next year that he could. Right. So I hope that they're able to push him back into that big role he had eventually. Does it have to be a starting role? No, but you'd like for him to be able to get up to 25, 30 minutes like he was at points last year. I mean, opening night last year, he played 44. And we were all like, whoa, where'd that come from? Right. So, he's just coming back. We'll see where it goes, but I don't love hearing that he's going to sort of stay in the secondary role, because I think at his peak, he's the ceiling raiser.
So you think he should start?
I think there's a case for it. I mean, that starting 5 last year, I know it doesn't have the spacing that they want and all the different shooting and 5 out that they've been playing with, but that unit had a better offensive rating than this.
Did you lose your keys, bro?
No, my AirPods. But sorry, go ahead.
that starting unit from a year ago, the big defensive 5, they were obviously historic defensively, but offensively, they had a better offensive rating than this year's starting 5. Even with all the shooting and playmaking and everything else, because, stops the lead to offense. And I think that's what you saw in this game as they started breaking out late. All those turnovers, all those runouts in the threes and dunks. That's what you want to see this team get back to. And Rob, I think, is going to be crucial for that with those blocks that lead, the hockey, what are you calling them? Hockey rebounds, blocks?
Hockey rebounds.
Either one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bobby, I think this is a good chance for him to ramp up with not just a second unit, but obviously you mix him in with the starters. But I think it's a great confidence booster. I mean, you go in against opposing second units, and it's a great way to run the floor, mix and match with those guys. And of course, if you're playing well enough and the game is close, you're going to see him at the end of the game as well. It's not like he's on a minutes restriction, so it's really up to Rob, right, in terms of his progression and him getting his legs back, which he continues to do week after week. But I also think that Joe Mazzulla isn't just going to force him into the starting lineup just because. I just think he wants to see him sort of earn it, so to speak.
Well, this is where we're seeing
Right.
the Ime Joe difference. Because remember last
Right.
year, there was that time where, I think we sort of thought it was Romeo, but also Rob. Rob took it personally at the time, where Ime said, "You guys got to play through some pain. Like, if you're just sore, you got to play. You can't sit out."
Right.
And, I think
Yeah,
throughout
that's a
that
good
year,
point.
he was pushing Rob to play more and longer stretches and in a bigger role. And I know Joe's a player's kind of guy and wants to hear what they have to say and their input on everything. But I do think Rob needs to be pushed a little bit to play more and in a bigger role. I don't think they can just keep leaning on, "Hey, how do you feel? Are you tired? All right, come
Right.
out." Especially now, because aren't you trying to build them up? That's what this whole regular season stretch is about. Even a game like this, and 20, fine, I'll take it. But you do want to get to a point where he can, I guess, play the minutes that he did last year. I'm going to look at how that's kind of divvied up right now. But so far, it feels like they've been on the cautious side with him. We don't know the medicals. We don't know the situation and the plan that they have for him. But just reading off his past, 2021, they went a little light with him. We thought it was physical. But last year, they play him 30 minutes a game. And I know he gets hurt in March, but that was just sort of like a freak injury. That wasn't really like a wear. I guess it could have been a wear and tear one. I'm not going to try to play doctor here, but you do want to hear or see a little bit more from him when they can.
Facts, my dog. You guys have any more Rob thoughts? Because Bobby, I feel like you want to talk about Jalen for a minute at least. Because oftentimes I feel like you want to make a point to talk about Jalen.
This is our chance. John's not here.
Yeah, this is we got to get it in before the Jalen gatekeeper gets back. But me and John actually did talk about it for a good amount of the show early on. Just how this guy, but right before our eyes here, is just turning into just a killer scorer. He's just a guy that's going to figure out a way to score. It doesn't matter how.
Lethal. And I want to look at his game log, see how many 30 20s he's had in a row here, because it just feels like every night he shows up and that's going to be his scoring total. And yeah, credit to him. He's taken on that finisher role. So when you start with 33 points and no assists, it's tough from a developmental standpoint, because I do think you want to see him become a better playmaker at some point. But if that's going to be his role, just be the best scorer possible. 2 years ago, he scores 24. Last year, he scores 23. Coming into tonight, he's at 26. So he's going to be at 27 after tonight, points per game. And him and Tatum are just racking off those 30-point games. I didn't even feel like Tatum was that great tonight, and he still reached 30 because of the connection they had. He's finding Brown again and again. Can't wait to see the passing numbers from this game, because Tatum was just hitting him with pass after pass after pass. Shot a ton of threes, as Josue pointed out to me at the end of the game.
Yeah, and they combined for 31 threes.
And this is Brown.
Just
It's kind of outrageous. Him and Tatum and Brown, I mean, yeah.
Aggressive. He turns the ball over twice, which is on the low end for him. And he's still able to generate that much scoring. It's unbelievable. At one point, they're going through that three-point funk to start the game. They end up finishing 35%, but he just blows by his guy. I think it was Jalen Green, right into that mid-range pull-up and just buried it. Everywhere on the floor. I think he's 70% from the rim area. We talked about this yesterday, John. He's so aggressive. He's so lethal. This guy, I mean, where would you stack him up? Jalen.
Because I'm looking at a Rob graphic on the screen.
I know. Well, I don't know.
Come on, you guys know how to do this. Bing.
Come on, Jimmy.
That was a host issue.
I thought you could walk and chew gum at the same time.
Jimmy and I talked about this before.
I don't see those. I don't see those graphics anywhere.
He specifically
about this
gave
beforehand,
you
Bobby.
the
powers.
responsibility.
I bestow
Gave me
my
the
powers
power.
upon you.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And everyone saw it too, so I don't know why
He
you're
just
lying.
goes faster than everybody. That's the thing, is before the help can come, before the defense can settle, when Jaylen Brown's playing aggressive and trying to get downhill and not fiddling around with the ball too much and trying to set up guys, he just literally just walks in a straight line to the basket. It's ridiculous right now. His ability to finish left, his ability to go left as well. When he attacks, when he's in attack mode, he's great. And that mid-range is just stupid. It's his best shot. That
I
he's
think
got
we saw he
going.
was 54% from there coming in tonight, right?
It's just insane, like the toughest shot in basketball is the thing that he's best at, which is crazy. And obviously he's shooting up around 70% at the rim. Those two things are great. You almost just don't need to take threes. That's why I think people get frustrated where you see these games where they go cold and they're
He
like,
takes 15.
you're better at the other stuff. Do the other stuff. And I know you need a balance there, but I really don't want to see 16 and 15 threes from the Jays ever. Especially Brown, who can just feast either in that mid-range or going to the basket. I always want him on the move.
Well, this is one of those games you look at and you're like, all right, if this was another team, does that 5 for 23 start kill you? They were just ice cold again to start the game from 3, and that's how Houston hung around. I'm just going to be endlessly concerned with that because we've seen how it's gone for other teams. But this group's showing some flexibility. Last couple of games, their rim looks went way up. And they were trying in this one. I don't know what's going on with Brogdon in there still. Like blocked, miss. I don't know what's going on with him in the paint area. But Tatum, Brown, they're both
It's old
at 70%
man
in
disease,
there.
right?
Yeah, they're generating free.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. Brogdon's going in there like that kind of guy playing pickup that can't get off the ground anymore, and he's just trying to scoop it up in there, and it's just getting thrown.
That's tough for him too, right? Because he wants to drive and kick, and he's almost lost a little bit of that as the year's gone on. Because defense has probably noticed he's having some finishing issues in there. So I don't know. We'll see how that develops as the year goes on. But Brown and Tatum are having no issues with that. I mean, that dunk Brown threw down to start this game.
Ooh.
He had another attempt against Milwaukee. I think he had a big one against Minnesota as well. We and Josue were talking whether this was the best dunker in Celtics history right now. I know Tatum had that nice
I
windmill.
guess you didn't hear about Gerald Green.
So was
Everyone
Sherrod
says
Green?
that. Yeah.
That's what everyone was saying in my mentions
It was
too. Was he
Gerald.
throwing down
look,
crazy dunks?
I mean, he had
Yeah,
crazy. You had. I mean, he's a dunk champ.
The dunk he literally blew out a cupcake on the rim.
But he wasn't the Celtic when he did it. But that's true.
No, but
How did
Celtics.
dunk
Ricky
contests
Davis,
become
that's a
uncool?
good one. Somebody in the
I mean, you had D Brown also,
D Brown, yeah, a little before me.
I feel like he has to do the dunk.
and
contest.
also Kedrick Brown.
Oh, God.
Kedrick Brown. John, he had like
That
three,
name gives me
three
PTSD,
really
dude.
good dunks. All right.
Don't
The one that he
tell
took
me
off from the free
Kedrick
throw
Brown.
line in Detroit, though, that was pretty good.
Tony Allen
John,
could throw
me and,
down, man. Tony Allen could dunk, man. Actually, a dunk actually almost kind of sidetracked his
He
career.
stopped doing that after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on
That
a
was a
dead
bad
ball. It was
I
on a dead
remember a lot
ball.
from Nate here.
Producer Tim coming in with Nate Robinson. I mean, it was just awesome that Nate Robinson could dunk. It didn't really even matter what he did, but that dude could jump.
Well, at the very least, Jalen's in the same class as these guys. I mean, he flies up there and just smashes it down. It is just explosive every time he gets up there. And I think he still needs a signature one. Does he have a signature one? I mean, Tatum has 2 at this point after Sunday.
It was almost Sunday when he almost
Yeah,
Does
he-
Brown have a signature one?
Yeah.
Well, he's got that one where he hangs on the rim with the Lakers, like he does the Prince.
Well, no, he means
but
like just like when he dunked on somebody really badly.
Like
the
one
game,
moment.
the game
yeah.
blouses that wasn't on LeBron.
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
right. He did dunk.
You remember
on
the
LeBron.
game? You remember
Yeah.
the game?
I
The
was gonna
game
say that was
blouses
Tatum, but-
dunk,
Yeah.
the Chappelle Prince dunk where he hangs on the rim and just descends in slow
And he
motion.
bumped LeBron like way out of the way
Yeah.
to throw it down. Yeah,
That
he's got a
Celtics
few
dunker.
if we can think about it.
That one was
Griffin.
great.
Hey, how about Rob? You got to throw Rob in there too.
Yeah, you got to throw Rob in there. J.R. Giddens couldn't dunk. Come on, you're just throwing out
Rob
names.
had that one
J.R.
against-
Giddens couldn't play.
Couldn't do anything.
I don't think he
Rob
dunked.
had-
step on the court.
Rob had that one against New Orleans where his hand was like feet over the rim. That was a great one.
Oh, Jeff
Yeah.
Green was a really good dunker. Someone has a good Jeff Green. I was
He
never
was.
a Jeff Green fan, but that man could freaking throw the hell down.
He has
Yeah.
like a Sports Center dunk every year. Someone and I were just talking about that.
Yeah. We also had Dominique Wilkins post Achilles tear when he lost about 18 inches off his vertical, which is too bad.
Hey. he was
How about
also
Aaron
a-
Gordon the other night?
Oh my God,
That's as
That was-
good as I've ever seen.
that was
That was-
insane. I wish they just didn't call that off. I know they overturned it as they should have, but like just a dunk.
In the
Insane.
moment, calling that offensive was just
I know.
a ref just not having a
So
sense of the moment.
ridiculous.
Yeah, man. like
That
come
happened
on.
with Andrew Wiggins last year too. I was trying to remember what dunk that was, and that one didn't get overturned. I don't think on forget who he dunked on, but yeah, I don't know. They kill it with those offensive fouls. And that wasn't an offensive foul, was it?
Anthony Edwards had an unbelievable, guy was just here. He had one, I think it was last year or the year before.
Yeah.
That was like a dunk of the year candidate too. So there's some legitimate amazing dunkers out there.
We
and
found
Jaylen
our-
Brown,
we
you're
found
right.
our-
Jaylen Brown is up there.
He's
We
up
found
there.
our social segment for tonight, Josue, I guess.
Ricky Davis was fun to watch too. He fly around.
Ricky Davis, dude, Davis was awesome.
Ricky Davis is a
Oh,
legend.
Javonte Green
Ricky
was
Davis
good.
Bucket Brigade. Anybody ever hang out over there?
I'd
that's
love to
right.
see the
Yeah.
Celtics
He had
get.
a little section.
I'd love to see the Celtics find a way to get Javonte Green back. I know you were asking the other night, Jimmy, like guys who could fit on this team. He'd make a lot of sense if Chicago tears this down as like a low cost option. He was solid here, and then he really found himself in Chicago. I think he'd be a nice bench wing off this bench, and then he's one of the better dunkers we've seen for sure.
People saying here, Neek, one of the best game dunkers. I would say Neek or Sean Kemp was the best in-game dunkers. Sean Kemp was a savage in-game.
You did not want to get in Sean Kemp's way.
Savage in-game dunker.
There was some respect
but
on.
Neek did it like Neek must have averaged like 8 dunks a game. I think like almost all of his. No.
Yes,
no,
dude.
no,
Pierce
no,
dunked
no,
on people.
no, no.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
What?
Yes, he did.
John, you
Yes,
forgot.
he did. John's a Pierce hater. He just is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find
Pierce,
this.
no
quote.
one's saying Pierce is a
You can
top
tell.
dunker, but Pierce definitely threw down on some people over his.
You know what a great
Absolutely.
thing that very few people know? Not very few people know.
Let me guess,
This
you
isn't
know.
like this. No, meaning that people forget. Ray Allen was in a dunk contest in addition to a
Oh,
three-point contest.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did he win either of them though?
No.
You got to win both for me to really be impressed.
But he was in a dunk contest, which most people wouldn't think of with someone
No.
like Ray.
Why the hell
Anyway,
would-
real
why would
quick,
he-
we want to just give a quick shout out before we wrap out. And we'll talk a little bit more Celtics after this. But another one of our sponsors, Rocket Money. This thing's actually pretty amazing. Since I first started using it, since it became a sponsor here on the Garden Report, used to be called Truebill. It consolidates all of your existing subscriptions, puts them in one place, and just really lets you know that they exist. In most cases, many people don't really remember how many things they subscribe to. The numbers show that about 80% of people out there have loose subscriptions they don't know exist, and probably think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions. They probably spend closer to 200, and that's way too high. So what Rocket Money does is it gathers them all together and says, hey, do you want them? You can cancel what you don't want. You may be paying way more than what you thought you were paying because it started. You might be getting double billed. That happens more than you would think. So it'll either allow you to cancel them or it'll help you negotiate better rates and get that down. I've already saved literally a couple $100 using this just in the first month by getting rid of a few and renegotiating a couple
bad.
more. It's really outstanding. So check that out if you want. Rocketmoney.com/garden. If you go there and sign up for whatever options they have there, I guarantee you're not going to be disappointed. But please go to rocketmoney.com/Gordon. Any paid subscription, if you send us the information for it, gets you a free Garden Report phenomenal T-shirt. So definitely go check that out, guys. Anything else to talk about in this game before we move on?
Well, last one I got on
this
the dunking conversation we were just having. I pulled up this old quote from Javonte Green's college head coach. He went to Radford, and he said, from Javonte Green's time there, that the only 2 players he ever saw dunk in the half court more than Javonte Green were Zion and Michael Jordan. So that's the echelon he put Javonte in.
Who said that?
Javonte Green's college coach.
Oh,
His
okay.
name was Mike Jones.
Okay. Oh, what did his dad have to say? Did his dad and
No.
mom
I'm not. I was just wondering.
Javonte Green's coach thinks Javonte Green is just as good of a dunker as Zion and MJ.
Hey, Javonte was a great dunker.
He's got good support. We'll leave it at that.
And he's Jason Tatum's buddy, so that matters. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, we've got three straight wins after 3 straight. Was it 3 straight wins?
3 straight wins.
Yeah.
Minnesota,
Minnesota,
Milwaukee, and
Milwaukee.
Houston.
After after kind of the crappy start to the homestand.
Quick question on Houston. Can you picture James Harden just sliding into that lineup? Because that was the rumor a couple days ago.
Why would they want him back with what
don't
they're
know.
doing here?
Look
They
at
got a bunch of
Porter's
money,
just
so he
playing
wants
like
to-
him.
He wants to go there.
They'll have 2 guys doing the step back and and drive and pass thing. They'll just be mirroring each other.
I could see people loving and hating Porter.
I don't get.
Yeah.
I know you like Şengün, John, and a lot of people love Porter. And Green showed me something tonight because I wasn't really on board the Green train until I saw some of the things he did in that third quarter. They got to shoot. They need shooters, and I think that's probably what's holding some of these guys back because you look at their shooting numbers, and they're just dreadful from the field. But, you saw a little something tonight. They fought, and they played small against a big Celtics team, and they were there
didn't
for
do
3
much
quarters.
tonight. He didn't acquit himself well, but he's been playing really well, actually.
Yeah, I know. I just don't see people throw his name in there with Jokic, and I don't see that at all. Like, he's a nice
No, but I mean,
passing
could
center.
he be Horford for you? Yeah,
Not defensively.
Not defensively. But
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a great draft pick for 14. Great.
yeah.
But when we used to kick around like, oh, would you have done that? Or, you missed out on. You got Horford, who's been great. Just phenomenal for you these last 2 years. So you'd still go back and do that in a second.
Yeah, you just need some young people in there somewhere. But
You got Cornette?
yeah.
You do. Hauser, man, still kind of going through it, huh?
He's a mess.
Yeah. Get those
That's the
back-to-back
bummer
threes
through
being
this-
bricked there. I think even
That's one of the
Forrest-
things Jimmy and I talked about, Bobby. These
bench
Tatum and
still
Brown
isn't really
games.
there.
What's lost in the Tatum and Brown game is that you really, when you need 80 points from your 2 best players to beat the Rockets, and granted you beat them handily, but that's not sustainable. See, the great all around contributions they were getting from everybody have gone away. Horford's obviously not scoring nearly as much. Derek White's been inconsistent, even though he played better a couple games recently. Sam Hauser's gone. And
What's
I
up
don't
with
know
Grant?
if we'll ever see him again. Grant is just kind of
nothing
there.
That's
Yeah.
Grant.
That's Grant.
That's your $20
I
million.
don't know. I felt like
guy.
he was better at the start of the year.
That's who he is, man. I mean,
That's why he held off of those contract talks. I mean, as he should at the time, because he was playing very much better than what we're seeing right now, for sure.
I mean, no, he's what he is. He's good. He's really good. He's really valuable to them. But I mean, what are we talking about here? He's a rotational player. I mean, he's a bench guy. He's a depth guy. He's a nice piece. That's who he is. But I don't know what people are expecting from Grant. He's scoring. I mean, he's playing more minutes this year. He's roughly scoring at his, per 36 averages. His 3-point percentage is solid. His overall field goal percentage is up. He's just never going to be a high volume offensive player. It's just not, the opportunity's never going to be there for a player like him. And certainly not on this team. He's gonna knock down open shots and play some decent defense, but that's who he's gonna be. I don't know what we're expecting from Grant beyond this.
Playoff Grant.
I just
we saw
look
last year.
every once in a game, and every once in a while you'll get a Grant game, but this is about it. This is who he is, right?
9 and 5, I guess. Yeah, with
That's his average.
43% 3-point shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
you're
well
right.
above. It's still above 40% too.
He's
But,
been
yeah.
better than last year, but man, he was just on fire to start the year, and I kind of got used to that. I mean,
I think we just have selective memory with Grant.
6 of his first 8 games, he had double figures in, so he was just scorching to start the year. And then through 17 games, he was averaging 10 on 48% shooting from 3. So he was just part of that group that was setting the world on fire to start the year. That's come down there just a little bit. I mean, he's gone from 48 to 43, which is still kind of a big drop.
He's scoring more in December than he was in November. So again, I really just think we're very selective in how we remember Grant. In December, he opened up. He's at 18, 10, 14, 14, 14, and 11. He's averaging 10 points a game on 51-43 splits in December, and he was 8.5 on 48-39 splits in November. He's actually playing better in the month of December. So again, this is who he is. This is Grant
I was on mute
Williams.
that whole time. Would you say he's kind of like a 3-and-D guy? I had a lot of things to say. I was on mute that whole time. I don't even know what I said.
Well, fire away.
Oh, go ahead,
No,
Jimmy.
I
repeat
mean, I
everything.
just think I kind of agree with a lot of what John said. Is that he's a role guy, he's a bench guy. This is kind of who he's been. I don't have super high expectations for him. I think that's why a lot of us were kind of scratching our head when the rumors came out that he was looking for $20 million. I think he's closer to 10 than 20, to be completely honest. I mean, if he gets 12 million a year, I think he should be happy with that. You know, if he can get 12, 4 years.
I still think he'll settle closer to 16.
I mean, I think 15 is his cap. If somebody wants to give him 16, great, but I hope to God it's not the Celtics. I really do, because I just don't think that he has a big.
Well, I've heard
role.
15. Yeah, I've heard 15 could be the cap, just based on.
I heard they
money's
they wouldn't even go to 14 this offseason. So
No,
they
but
have
I'm
an
saying-
idea.
I'm not saying.
I'm saying
The
what could be. Yeah, I'm saying in terms of what could be out there. So that's ultimately
But
what's going
he's
to happen.
kind of like
here.
a 3-and-D-ish type of guy, right? I mean, he's great from, he's a high percentage three-point shooter. He's not a high volume three-point shooter, but I guess he could be theoretically if he was given all those shots. But he doesn't take a lot of threes right now. It's Tatum and Brown doing that. Smart on occasion, and they've got a lot of three-point shooters on this team. There's only one ball, so I think his attempts
He's become
have
more
gone,
of a passer too.
his
Yeah,
attempts have gone down. He's passing up shots, as I think he should. Giving it to guys that are just can do more with the ball in their hands. Grant is elite. You guys sound silly right now.
Celtics derangement syndrome. I love
We
it.
sound silly. You just called Grant elite. Look up elite for me one time and then come back and tell us we sound silly. I'm not trying to trash Grant. I think he's great for the role that he's in. He's a 7th, 8th type guy in the team.
I just read that in John's
God.
John's
I
voice.
was like, I literally just looked at my mic like, am I still muted?
He was doing the talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tatum still hasn't talked yet, believe it or not. So I am going to go try to catch him when he comes, whenever
Okay,
that
we will
is.
not be here. That's a fact, but we will. We got.
Yeah,
we
I'm
got.
running out of
We got. We got more. Yeah, we got
All
more.
good, guys. We'll see you on Thursday.
Sounds good.
All right, Bobby. Love
yeah,
you. Say it back.
Love you, man.
All right, cool.
Happy New Year.
Love you
Happy
guys.
New- we'll see you Thursday, Bobby. Don't rush the New Year talk.
That was the most forced "I love you too" I've ever heard
I
in my
love
life.
you, man. This is my this is my last
Love
show
you
of
too, man.
2022. By the way, guys, it is a Nick Gelso joint on Thursday with Jimmy Toscano.
Hey.
Oh, you just sprung that on me, didn't you?
Yeah.
With,
you just
after the
sprung that on
Clippers
me.
game. That's a good one. I
Yeah.
like that.
Now I have
do it.
to do the show.
You have to do the show. It is a Nick
You lost
Gelso
it.
joint. Yeah.
Nick Jones. All right, I'm gonna be prepared for that. I might have to take Friday off. Just get after.
You should have
Thursday.
a special intro that lasts like 5 seconds, but something that just knows, oh, this is a Nick.
It'll just be a bunch
show.
of
There should be a
swearing
disclaimer
and
at the front. Like,
typos.
I swear, none of us think any of whatever you're about to hear doesn't reflect what anyone else on the planet thinks.
Seriously.
But especially the co-host of this show.
It's
You
really
don't-
hard to put the
Yeah.
disclaimer up that says it does not reflect the views of CLNS Media when Nick owns CLNS Media. Like, it's really
just pray the Celtics win that game, because otherwise we're gonna get boomer rage right off the top. It's gonna be like 45 minutes of just like, the Bird era, in the Bird's day, they never would have taken a game off tonight like they did. They just don't play that way. Blah blah blah. We'll get the whole history of the Celtics all over again, but we love Nick. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, the best dunker was James Booby McKenzie in 1943.
The 1948 team, 49.
Look him up. Look him up. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
There should be some sort of game for
They're
people
playing
who are
round
watching.
ball.
You could do a drinking game for every time he says "look it up" or
Bob
something
Cousy
like
was the best passer in NBA history.
Google it. Or something
Amazing,
Like that.
amazing that he did. Kuz did it all without the ball ever touching his left hand. It was really an amazing, amazing player.
He could literally just dribble. Nick used to watch games where they used to dribble around
Well in
like
front
this.
of him.
He's not an ambi-turner. He could just go one way. It was really
Yep.
good stuff.
The best dunker in when Nick was, they didn't actually dunk. A lot of them couldn't touch the rim.
Yeah. Or it's just the basket would just the peach basket would come apart if they dunked. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. So it's a Gelso Jimmy joint on Thursday with those other knuckleheads
That's
continuing on.
Old school. That's an old school show right there. That's how it started.
Continuing on, old school on Thursday.
I hope to
But,
God
the last of the
Nick
home
figures
state.
out his video connection. Christmas Day was a tough scene for everybody who saw Nick trying to fumble around with his phone on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. So let's hope he's got the laptop out for this one.
Nick invented basketball. Yeah.
Man.
All right, so that's it, guys. Thank you for hanging out. This was fun. Celtics win. All their problems are solved. We got another game here on Thursday, and then it's
Revenge game.
revenge game, and then it's the first, January 1st. Are they off the rest of the year?
They're off the rest of the year.
Okay, so that's that. So for me, I will not see you guys. Happy New Year to everybody out there. The rest of the gang will be back.
Oh wow! Happy New Year, John.
Happy New Year, John.
We'll
Happy
see you
New
next
Year,
year.
I fucking hate that. I hate when people say
Get
that.
ready,
I
get
hate
ready.
it.
Office life. If you're working in an office, get ready to hear that in the next like couple days. Little cube life. That's like cube life hell right there. See you next year.
And that's the fake Jimmy smile right there. That he
There's
gives
a-
her back.
Any of you guys watch Bob's Burgers?
No, but I
No,
should.
but I have a
People
feeling
love
you
that
do.
show.
There's one phenomenal dream sequence where he got a bad food review and he imagines what life would be like if he had to have a normal job.
Just
And
like
it's
quit.
like, and it's friggin' great. It's like just birthday cakes and guys doing Borat impressions. It's so funny. My wife, oh my God. And he just wakes up, he's like, oh, he's like, I just had the worst dream.
That's too funny. It is
Uh,
true. It is true.
Anyway, I thought Bobby was trying to sneak back on, but he's not. So I'm out. Good night, all. Thanks again.
I'm out
Shout out
too.
to our sponsors once again. Athletic Greens, go check that out. I'll give you guys the athleticgreens.com/garden.
Yes.
Head over there for your free
It's not
gift and a
too
free
late.
phenomenal T-shirt. Not too
Start
late.
your
to-
new
not
year
too
off
late-
right.
Not too late to take care of your health. Seriously, it's a great way to start the new year. You've got all your New Year's resolutions. Why not double up here with a
Yep.
terrific health supplement
And
that will
it'll last all
kinda
year.
help you kickstart your health campaign, which I know many of you will do. And also save yourself some friggin' money. Go to rocketmoney.com/garden and cancel all of those ridiculous subscriptions. Where
Right.
does your money go? You have no idea, but some of it's probably just wasting away on subscriptions that you don't want anything to do with. So get rid of those as well. Once again, Celtics beat
Those
the
big
Rockets. A big game for the Jays. Rob Williams looked great. Bobby got to meet the whole Cornette clan. It was a feel-good story for
Bobby
the ages.
Cornette.
Yeah.
Bobby Cornette.
So
we
that
need
stuff's
to
good.
superimpose a picture of Bobby with the family now. That's the next graphic that we need to see.
Something's coming out of that.
Bobby, right? They're drawing up Bobby didn't go to find Tatum in the locker room. They're drawing up the papers right now for custody.
No, they're filing a
Soon as he-
restraining order actually as we
Will
As
speak.
you
soon as
be
he
my-
signed off, he's like, "Yeah, I'm on my way right now." All right.
Will you be my new family? So Bobby, it might be Bobby Cornette next time we see him.
If Josue, listen closely. If Bobby calls Luke like bro or like hey bro, hey it's my big bro, like just be
That's
like
it.
listen
That's the
for
sign
that.
right
Listen
there.
for that.
Yeah.
You're my big
Anyway,
bro.
thanks again, guys. We are gonna wrap it. We will see you guys next time. Take care.